opening the meeting of the Darien City Council. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Belzak.
Here.
Gustafson. Kenny.
Here.
Legansky.
Here.
Shower. Here. Stompanato.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
6 present and 1 absent.
We have a quorum. This takes us to questions and comments and announcements of a general nature. This is an opportunity for people to make a comment about something not on our agenda. If it is on our agenda, there will be a section later on for that. I'd like to address the council at this point. If not, go to the approval of the minutes. There are no minutes from the past meeting. So we're going to move to receiving of communications. Do any of the aldermen have communications they want to share with the council? Alderman Shower.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got two correspondence, one from Kathy Rojas, who lives at the corner of 79th and Del Court. She reached out to me about the speeding down 79th Street. I know we were talking, we had this issue about 12 years ago, we kind of settled it, but it came back. And what's the latest with 79th Street? Are we going to put speed bumps in there, Dan?
Currently what we're doing, I know that Greg was on vacation, so Deputy Chief Norton was basically taking over to get some surveying with speeders at that within that block area. I believe that the report or the study will be completed by this week. Once we see that, we're also getting the counters or the actual radars right now have Bluetooth capability to which will tell us what the actual speeds were.
Okay.
So once we get that, we'll determine what type of concerns there are, when they are, and if it's needs be, we'll put up temporary speed humps. It will meet the criteria for the speed humps from what I've looked at the policy so far. So we'll try out, once the analysis is completed. Number two, then we'll be putting temporary speed humps up there and see what type of feedback we get and see what type of results further before we implement a full speed table, speed hump.
Okay, so we're work in progress on this one. Sounds good. Thanks, Dan. And then I had another one from a Robert Altapeter who lives at 8408 Mystic Trace. And basically, it's a very short area, and this is basically reflections in the subdivision. I guess cars were parking and blocking his driveway. And for all intents and purposes, even on Thursdays, they were blocking the garbage cans, and LRS was just going around it. So I basically said, if they have that situation, because there's no parking on that side of the street, basically just call the police, correct? And go that route?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
911.
So, yeah, if they're blocking it, and there's not supposed to be parking on there, as the chief said, just call 911. So.
We're also going to put up an additional no parking sign.
Oh, we are? Another one? Okay, cool. No, perfect. So thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Anything else? Mary?
I did receive a communication from Carriage Greens Country Club just asking residents, especially those neighbors in the Carriage Greens area, to please be mindful that now that the weather's been nice for a while, but the course has been quite busy and active, that it's really important not to walk or play on the golf course, especially when it's an active golf course, because it's very dangerous. Especially if I'm playing, I do hook the ball. But it's important that it is private property, and to be mindful that people are playing golf from sunup to sundown, and to please stay on your private property, on your own property, not on the golf course. I have been receiving quite a few communications about the signs that have gone up regarding the North Frontage Road curve correction. The sign is posted that starting May 15th through August, that the road will be closed between Bailey and the entrance to Mount Carmel. I know Dan's going to address that in his report, but it's an IDOT project. The city is working with IDOT as best as they can and with their subcontractor, but this is, a project that we've actually been wanting to happen for quite some time, even just as early as last week. There was a pretty serious accident. A car went off the roadway at North Frontage Road, ended up down the culvert and almost onto the ramp going onto 55, took a straight pole out. So, it couldn't happen soon enough. I did receive a communication from resident Lisa Janik, once again expressing a desire to have a sound wall go up along Frontage Road. And Kelly Glisson also was asking questions about some work that's being done on Carriage Greens. He thought it was a home being built, but it's actually some revisions to their pavilion, and Municipal Services is addressing that with Carriage Greens.
Anything else? All right, we move on then to the mayor's report. I'd like to take the new business item, and move that to my mayor's report. So at this point, I'm asking for consideration of a motion to approve the reappointment of the department heads, Greg Thomas, Police Chief, and Daniel Gombeck, Director of Municipal Services. Do I have a motion moved by Alderman Schauer, seconded by Alderman Legansky? Any questions or comments? In the roll?
Shower.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
Congratulations. Dan and Chief.
Go ahead, H before B.
That's on the microphone.
Got me on that one.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Dan Gombeck,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
and that I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties
of Police Chief.
of municipal services
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, fellas. Another year.
Lady, you want to come up and we'll get a picture? Chief. Bring the whole family up? Dan, we're going to get a picture with your family up here.
Okay.
They say they really didn't want to do this, but we did.
We did it.
Thanks, buddy. Okay, for the record, let everybody know who this is here.
Stand up and like photo bomb there?
This is my daughter Danielle, my son Tommy. Justin,
Your son,
oh my God, Justin,
It's a lot.
his wife Lauren, and Danielle's wife
husband, Tom.
Tommy, and my wife Linda. Thank you for all your help over the years, for letting me work. Appreciate that. Of course. And my pride.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mary. Really appreciate it.
While we're on the topic of staff, we had a young man come work for us about 4 years ago. And he's become quite close and has become a very integral part of our staff. Found out a couple weeks ago that he'll be leaving us to go up and live with the cheeseheads up in Wisconsin. But I'd like to personally thank Jordan for all of his work and his dedication to the city of Darien. He will be missed. Tonight, this will be his last city council meeting. I think you're leaving us, what, on the 16th?
16th.
16th. So I'd like to say thank you. I'm sure the council members here will also thank you for all the hard work you've done.
Well,
Thank you very
thank
much,
you.
Jordan.
I didn't prepare a speech, but thank you, and I should just give a shout out to all you guys and Brian and Dan too for the direction over the last several years. So, yep, thank you.
It takes us to the city clerk's report. Joanne.
No report this evening, Mayor.
City administrator's report.
No report, Mayor. Thank you.
Department head information and questions. Dan, you have something for us tonight.
Yes, this is in reference to North Frontage Road at Cass Avenue. I think a lot of you already know that the Illinois Department of Transportation has undertaken a project with Martam Construction at Cass Avenue and North Frontage Road. This will be immediately west of Cass Avenue, and the road closure itself will begin on May 15th, and it will start just west of their Mount Carmel's or the church's driveway there. From there to Bailey Road, the road will be closed. The detours is very, very simple. It's basically Cass Avenue up to Plainfield Road west to Bailey, Bailey back south to Frontage Road, and that will get you back to, obviously, Frontage Road, and most of all, Carriage Greens. That's probably the main business that those patrons will have a little trouble at first, but I think we've identified everything. So I really don't anticipate any concerns with the traffic. First couple days, obviously, we'll have some, probably a little chaos. The contractor, I've worked with that contractor years ago, great contractor, and they're looking at being completed by August at this point, sometime in August. So hopefully, they're gonna get going and we'll rock and roll it out.
Anything else, Dan?
That's all I have.
Mary?
And obviously, there's no homes along that pathway, but there obviously, because school is still in session through like the end of May, school buses will have to be rerouted, and I know you've been in contact with Cass 63 and the high school as well.
Correct. We're still, we're gonna put a special letter back out to them. I'm not sure if the new principal is still in play there, but regardless, we'll make sure that, correspondence is sent to those people, which will then be conveyed over to the school bus companies.
Anything else? Anybody have anything else? Chief, do you have anything you want to present?
I do not.
Thank you. That takes us to our treasurer's report. We have 2 warrants tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Happy New Year. We're started our new fiscal year. This first warrant is a carryover from last year, requesting council's approval of warrant number 232425, symmetrical, in the amount of $413,940.62 from the listed funds. Payroll for the period ended April 18th in the amount of $306,217.46, for a total to be approved of $720,158.08.
Motion to approve, Alderwoman Sullivan, second by Alderman Belzak. Any questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
That warrant's been approved. The warrant 242501, Mike?
Requesting council's approval of warrant number 242501 in the amount of $57,942.97 from the listed funds. Payroll for the period ended May 2nd in the amount of $407,836.92, for a total to be approved of $465,779.89.
Motion to approve, Alderman Shower, second by Alderman Stompanato. Again, any questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Shower.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
The warrant's been approved. Takes us to standing committee reports. Do any of the chairmen have reports to share with the council? Alderwoman Sullivan?
The Administrative Finance Committee met tonight, and our next meeting will be held on Monday, June 3rd at 6 p.m. in the conference room upstairs.
Thank you.
And Happy New Year. Budget year.
We'll go celebrate later.
Yes.
Alderman Belzak, anything?
Yes, Your Honor.
Attorney Belzak?
I've become a judge.
The next Municipal Services Committee meeting will be held on the 20th, oh no, 28th.
27th.
No, it's Tuesday.
27th Memorial Day.
I forgot.
Correct.
All right, it's not on the calendar. The 28th in council chambers.
Joe?
All right, let's see if I can screw mine up now. Police committee meeting will be held on Monday, May 20th, 6 p.m. across the parking lot in the police training room, pending agenda items.
And our Darien Community Action Committee will meet Saturday,
You can do it
May
next time.
18th from 11 till 12:30 in the police training room. Mrs. Gombeck, if you'd like to leave, you guys can go. If you want to stay, you're welcome to stay.
Maybe go right to the hospital.
Like Daddy?
Thanks for coming out.
Good luck, Danielle. All right. That takes us to questions and comments, agenda related. This is an opportunity for the public to make comments or ask questions on any item on the council's agenda. And I think Attorney Murphy has something to say at this point.
Yes, this is in connection with the Woodland Glen item, which I believe is item B on the consent agenda. For clarification purposes, some months ago, the council passed the zoning ordinance rezoning this property and granting preliminary plan approval. That was the council's exercise of its zoning discretion. Once that action has taken place, the subsequent action of the council is much more limited. The owner's rights have vested. The owner has now received the zoning, and at this point, the council's task is to determine whether the final plans submitted by the developer comply with the rezoned property and the plans that have been approved. And I think you've got a staff recommendation of substantial compliance, commission recommendation of substantial compliance, and I think a committee recommendation of substantial compliance. So what was a matter of, council's discretion, and we remember having an extensive discussion about discretion in the context of Gerber, that discretion's been exercised. And so tonight's decision is much more limited and to recognizing and approving compliance with what the preliminary plan authorized.
Any question for Attorney Murphy? Okay. Anybody in the audience like to address the council on the agenda?
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Uribe, and I'm the owner of the law firm Action Speak. I'm here tonight on behalf of my clients, Janine and Tony Antoporek, who own their home located directly east of the project that will be Woodland Glen subdivision. As you all know, I'm sure, I submitted a letter on behalf of my clients last week, and so I'm just going to assume that you all have read it, and I won't spend time rehashing those points. However, I would like to supplement that letter based on my review of the packet and now Mr. Murphy's comments. I read with particular interest Mr. Murphy's memo of April 28th, offering his legal opinion about the council's authority to review and approve the final plan for Woodland Glen. The first sentence of the final paragraph in that memo caught my attention, and it says, "At this point, the owner's land use rights have vested and the council's discretion is sharply limited." While I unfortunately do not disagree with Mr. Murphy or his conclusion, the analysis is missing a very crucial point. The vesting of property rights in the proposed land use for the parcels on 87th Street for the Woodland Glen subdivision, which were referred to in Mr. Murphy's memo, they do not supersede the rights of others or absolve the city or the developer from adhering to the law, the final plan as approved by this body, and the recommendations made by the city engineer, which I believe is integrated into the proposed ordinance. The city and the developer must take care in coordinating with and respecting the rights of nearby neighbors, including the Antoporeks, whose rights in their property and their home vested more than 28 years ago. To this end, my clients look forward to working with the city and the developer as neighbors to ensure the subdivision is successful as it transitions into what is hopefully an asset to the community. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else?
Tell them there's a 3-minute window.
Now, we're limited 3 minutes.
You got it, Mayor. It won't take that long.
Okay.
As Liz mentioned, I am Janine Antoporek, living directly next to the proposed subdivision. We've been there for 28 years. At this point, there isn't much to say based on what I'm hearing, except to say that I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that the city is ignoring over 50 petition signatures from surrounding neighbors who overwhelmingly do not want this development to move forward. I'm disappointed that the city is granting 7 significant variances and waivers, allowing this project's density to be way too high. I'm disappointed that the city is radically changing the look and feel of this heavily wooded, wildlife-rich area. I'm disappointed that the city is ignoring the concerns about safety and increased traffic on 87th Street. Seems like that's a DuPage County concern, right? I'm disappointed that the city is not listening to the non-Darien residents who also surround this development, who are very concerned about the increased likelihood of flooding and destruction of the wetlands. Nor are they answering the question of what happens if the flooding becomes worse, not better. I'm disappointed in the developer who has not made any attempt to contact any of the neighbors to hear their concerns or to discuss whether they would consider selling their property. And finally, I'm disappointed that I no longer consider Darien a nice place to live. Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, we move on to our, back to our agenda. Old business, we have none. We'll move to, are you coming forward, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, please.
We live directly behind this proposed development.
Your name.
Carla Twombly. We live directly behind this proposed development. I have lived there for 68 years. I do not believe that adequate provisions have been made for the flooding. We take flooding from the water all the way from Main Street, all the way to where Woodridge is, and putting a few inches down at a time is not going to solve it if we get a big rain. All of this stuff was developed during a drought. Half of what you're calling the pond is swamp. It's no more than 2 feet deep. I have no idea where our property is going to take any more water. Our house was built years ago and it has a full basement. What is going to happen if this whole thing goes wrong and we lose what we have? All of this is being drained across Woodridge in a 12-inch pipe under the road. That can be an awful lot of flooding, and I do not believe adequate measures have been taken for the flooding, nor has anything been done to keep people from trespassing on private property. And that's going to become an issue. So these things really should have been considered and better planning should have been. I too am very disappointed in Darien. And the fact that we didn't have all that much notice when this whole thing started is very sad. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mary?
Dan, is it okay if I address something to you?
Sure.
So obviously, we've seen communications come back from Christopher Burke based on the final plan, and that they've signed off on it with some just minor comments, correct?
That's correct. Most of them are administrative, and the only points that, are something that's out of our jurisdiction, and that is the DuPage County Division of Transportation, as well as the sanitary district, and then there's one more additional sign-off that's referred to as the stormwater certification that basically addresses the wetlands, the buffer zones, so on and so forth. So again, not getting into the technical details, but those are the only 3 items, and I know that their engineer, the developer's engineer is also here this evening. They've had correspondence being reviewed. Obviously, DuPage County takes longer on reviews. A turnaround time for a review is typically about 4 weeks for a comment back from a letter.
So based on what the outcome tonight is, it would be contingent, if it was a positive decision, it would be contingent on those sign-offs by the county, the stormwater, they have to come through.
100%.
So nothing can be done basically until those boxes are checked.
Correct. In addition to that, prior to all that, there's what they call a Mylar. A Mylar is a record copy of the plat and all the signatures from DuPage County, the city engineer, the school district, so on and so forth. So again, obviously the Mylar is not prepared yet, just for the simple reason that those approvals are pending.
And then when a development comes in, we've had others, I'm just gonna refer back to like, say, Rolling Nose off of Manning Road. When something, larger comes in that completely changes the spatial that wasn't there before, the developer has to put forth a letter of credit, correct? So that if there's things that, everything needs to be completed, finished over a period of time once the development is done, before that, in case there's lingering issues afterwards.
Correct. Let me explain what the letter of credit is. The letter of credit refers to infrastructure. There's two types of letter of credit. Number one is for the infrastructure. Number two is for the detention area itself. And there might also be some additional with the buffer zone and the wetlands. So there could be a potential of the stormwater and the buffer zone being rolled into one. And the infrastructure basically refers to water mains, pavement, sidewalk, curb and gutter, anything that has to do that will be turned over to the city. Until the developer gets those done, we hold 100% of that funding. That's through a letter of credit, a bond, is typically the two instruments that are utilized for that. Once a developer completes those, typically it'll take about 6 months to 9 months. He can request a letter of reduction. A letter of reduction is, number one, upon inspection and a review with the engineer and as-bills to make sure everything was built accordingly, that letter of credit will get reduced. It gets reduced, but there's also a maintenance period. After the subdivision is done, it's a 1-year maintenance period, which the city will retain a certain amount of monies. In conjunction with that, the stormwater / buffer zone or detention, wetland area, if any at all. There is no wetlands, but the buffer area, that's a separate fund if you want to say. Those funds are usually kept for a period of anywhere from 3 to 5 years, and that will come back from DuPage County. Again, the city will hold those funds through a separate letter of credit, but the city council will see when the reductions are requested and or the subdivision is approved for final, I shouldn't say final approval, field plan approval in the field.
Thank you.
Anything else? We're going to move on.
I got another part.
Sure.
My long-term property is also Jason.
Name, please.
Your name?
Anna Pickney's, Crest Drive. I am also disappointed on the accounts. I have heard about the sheet flow of the water from this development into the wetlands will be contained. However, I have not heard accounted for what will happen with all the saline from the salt and the petrochemicals going directly into a wetland. This is really a bad idea. I'm extremely disappointed at the density of this project. It's a very bad idea for this location. There is terrible traffic now. I think maybe people don't drive there. The traffic's backed all the way up to this blind hill as it is. There are not adequate lanes to turn in and out that will account for increased traffic. There's very large developments going in Woodridge. The traffic's going to get even worse. There will not be ability to widen the road because there's been so many variances taking this development straight up to the edge, which completely is painting Darien in a corner. And I'm very disappointed. It's a very short-sighted project. It did not need to be this dense. It's just not necessary. If there is any way, from a public safety perspective, to rethink the density of this project, it would be for the public good because there will be collisions.
Anyone else? All right. Move to our consent agenda. Please bear with me. Item A, consideration of a motion to approve the annual 4th of July parade on Monday, July 4th, 2024, beginning at 9:30 a.m., sponsored by the Darien Lions Club. Following there are the street closures for the parade. Item B, consideration of a motion to approve an ordinance granting final PUD and final plat of subdivision for the Woodland Glen subdivision. Item C, consideration of a motion to approve a resolution accepting a proposal at the unit prices for sidewalk grinding from Hard Rock Concrete Cutters Incorporated for an amount of $251,100 and approval of a project contingency in the amount of $15,000. Item D, consideration of a motion to approve resolution A resolution authorizing the purchase of the Phase 3 leak logger program consisting of 217 leak logger units from Gutterman Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $219,441.70. Item E, consideration of a motion to approve a resolution accepting proposal from Superior Road Striping Incorporated at the proposed unit prices in an amount not to exceed $16,000 for the 2024 street striping program. Item F, consideration of a motion to approve a resolution to accept a proposal for the purchase of one new Varma walk-behind saw with 24-inch blade diameter from O'Leary Contractors Equipment and Supply Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $8,750. Item G, consideration of a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the license renewal of a web-based work order software with Granicus in an amount not to exceed $9,099.16. Item H, consideration of a motion to approve a resolution accepting proposal from TKB Associates Incorporated for digitalizing, cataloging, software, hardware, and programming in an amount not to exceed $68,615 for the Municipal Services Department. Item I, consideration of a motion to approve a resolution accepting proposal from TKB Associates for the digitalizing, cataloging, software, hardware, and programming in an amount not to exceed $49,015 for the Community Development Building Division permit files. And item J, consideration of a motion to approve a resolution accepting a 3-year contract from Vestas Uniform and Workplace Supplies for the leasing of floor mats, including the delivery and cleaning of in an amount not to exceed $4,967.04 for each year. Motion to approve. Alderman Shower, second by Alderman Belzak, and the roll.
Shower.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
The consent agenda has been approved. That takes us to questions and comments and announcements of a general nature. At first, I'm going to ask council members if they have anything that they want to share at this point. We have a group here tonight that would like to make presentations. So before they start, I'd like the council to have a chance.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to remind residents, since the last storms, we've been inundated with contractors coming door to door in regards of looking at roofs. Just remember, any vendor that comes to your door must have the green neon permit. It must be displayed. If people do not want vendors coming to their door, they can always pick up a decal for a no solicitor decal. But just remind people that if they don't have that green neon permit, you should just, quietly close the door, call 911 is what we've been instructed to do. They need to follow the procedures of registering with the city. And just remind people, since I had another one come today, but the gentleman did have his permit, which he's abiding by the rules. So just want to remind all the residents of that.
Thank you.
Good reminder.
Anyone else on the council? Okay, at this point, I'd like to introduce Mr. Nizam Khatib. Mr. Khatib is here with a group of individuals who'd like to address us about the situation in Gaza. Mr. Khatib.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Just if I may ask some logistics, I gave you a list of our speakers. We have about 15 speakers. Are we going to be calling their names, or shall we go? Everyone knows we have a WhatsApp group that they have the list there. Shall we go according to that list, or are you going to be calling the names? Whatever is good for you. Okay, we'll go.
You can call the names.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor Marquez, and the esteemed Board of Trustees. Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to address the board tonight. And also, I would like to thank you for taking great care of the streets, buildings, and parks of the beautiful city of Darien. You are doing a great job. Your care for the city of Darien is to make the residents happy and safe. Humans are the most valuable resource that we care about. We are here tonight to ask you to pass a humanitarian bilateral ceasefire resolution in Gaza to save lives and allow humanitarian aid to enter Gaza. Release all Israeli hostages and all illegally held Palestinians in Israeli jails. We are not asking you to take political side, simply to side with humanity. I admire the freedom available to everyone living here in the US and the opportunity to achieve your dreams. It's what makes America great. I have also realized over time that our system allows those with money to control and manipulate many aspects of our lives. The media now makes the news instead of reporting it. Unfortunately, the era of Walter Cronkite, who reported the news, is gone. We are seeing Congress nowadays serving the interest of a foreign country. Billions of dollars are pouring into Israel, supporting the massacres and destructions in Gaza. Over 44 billion giving to Israel so far this year. We need that money here, at home. We can erase student debt in a blink of an eye. The World Court of Justice declared that Israel is committing a plausible genocide. Amnesty International, one of the largest human rights organizations, declared Israel as an apartheid state. And now, over 60 elite universities are protesting against the atrocities in Gaza and the West Bank. You are our local government and our strong voice. By passing a ceasefire resolution, it will speak volumes about our shared humanity. You will illustrate to the Darien people, and we have a lot of them tonight here from Darien. You will illustrate to the Darien people and to anyone around the city of Darien that you identify with our pain and suffering, that you care about the issues facing your community. It emphasizes your stance against Islamophobia and anti-Semitism to prevent anything bad from happening in your city. Will you join the over 110 cities throughout the US who passed the ceasefire resolution, including your neighboring city of Burridge, who just recently passed that resolution? Please stand with the humanity, ceasefire now. Thank you, and that's the way it is, May 6, 2024. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mayor. It's good to see you. Good evening, Board of Trustees. My name is Adam Dowd. I am a ordained pastor in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, the largest Lutheran denomination in the United States. My church is Lord of Life. It's right on 75th Avenue right here or 75th Street rather, in Darien. And I am a retired Army active captain. I'm here tonight as a Christian, as a faith leader, and as a veteran for peace to urge the City Council to pass a ceasefire resolution. The first time I attended a Darien board meeting, you all welcomed me warmly, and I thank you so much for that. Since then, Mayor, we have worked together on opportunities to find solutions for members of my church who've had problems, and I have seen the way you lead Darien and the Lions Club for a better community. I know that you deeply value a community that is strong and rooted in compassion, and that is why I look forward to working together again. Today, you have a great opportunity to build on that compassion and leadership that you have already shown by passing a ceasefire resolution. This would live into your own values as a leader of Darien and the Lions by creating and fostering a spirit of understanding among all people for humanitarian needs by providing a statement of support for those suffering and voicing the need for an end to the horrific violence taking place. In doing so, you would be joining the many voices calling for a ceasefire. In March, Pope Francis called on the people to raise a cry for peace, saying, "Do we really think we are building a better world this way? Enough, please. Let us all say enough, please. Stop the war." Similarly, my ELCA Conference of Bishops released a statement saying, urgently calling for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza and urging all who lead to do everything they can to stop the violence. Darien can join Willowbrook, or can join Burr Ridge and Bolingbrook and many other suburbs by living into their own values and supporting the residents through taking a stand for humanitarian and peaceful end to the injustices taking place. City Council members, Mayor, be those people. Pass the ceasefire resolution. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Hassan Ali and I have the privilege of serving as an imam in this community for the past 13 years and serving with our esteemed respected mayor in many occasions. Additionally, I'm the director of Humanitarian Faith Initiative and I have proudly called Darien my home for over 12 years along with my family. I wanted to express my deep appreciation for the diversity and kindness that define Darien. It truly is a nice place to live. Thanks to the dedicated leadership of our hardworking mayor, the board of trustees, and the police officers, and every individual in this city. Today, I'm reaching out to align with my neighbors, fellow faith leaders, humanitarians, and residents of our community, as well as several organizations from diverse backgrounds, including Rabbis for Human Rights, Jewish Voices for Peace, Social Workers for Peace and Welfare, Doctors Without Borders, and Mid-Global Organization. Together, we stand united in calling for an immediate and lasting ceasefire in Gaza. This resolution underscores the urgent need for the quick and equitable distribution of humanitarian aid, including vital necessities such as food, water, shelter, and medical supplies to the displaced families in Gaza. Furthermore, we advocate for the swift release of all hostages currently held in Gaza, as well as the liberation of all Palestinians unjustly detained in Israel. Additionally, we emphasize the importance of initiating dialogue to foster a safer and more secure environment for all inhabitants of the troubled region. We just pledged allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, we did say liberty and justice for all, and we need to live up to those words. Justice should not be selective. If we pledge for all, it must be for all. The loss of innocent lives, regardless of nationalities or affiliation, is a tragedy that cannot be ignored. With thousands of lives lost and millions facing their circumstances in Gaza, it is imperative that we pursue a ceasefire to protect civilians and mitigate further suffering. So let us take an action that allows us to rest easier at night, knowing that over 2 million people, including women and children, are living on the streets of Gaza without access to water, food, or shelter. As an individual of faith, we are called to uphold the values of compassion, justice, and peace. Our collective efforts to advocate for the well-being of all individuals, regardless of nationalities or background, are rooted in the belief that every life is sacred and deserving of dignity and respect. Just as we work hard to make Darien a better place to live, let us also extend our support to improve conditions in Gaza. The innocent children there have dreams just like our children do. We are not here to request that you pick a side in this conflict. Instead, our request is very simple. Please join us in denouncing war, advocating for peace, and working towards a better life for everyone without exception. Let us continue to pray for peace, advocate for justice, and work tirelessly towards a future where all individuals can live without fear or oppression. We are all God's children, and blessed are the peacemakers. Thank you.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. My name is Omar Dwidari. I am here on behalf of the Mecca Center. I'm a founder and a board member of the Mecca Center. We urge you to pass a resolution. We have been getting a lot of pressure from the people, from the attendee at Mecca Center, asking for do something to stop this war. Just do something to stop this war. We're limited, and you guys are also limited, but you can always put your voice on. And whether somebody's gonna hear it or not, we're doing our job. Just please do your job and be in the right way. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Do you know what a Muslim refugee looks like? I am her. My name is Zinida Abdin. I came to the States after enduring a genocide in Bosnia. As a refugee, as an American, I'm appalled that the country I call home, the country that's supposed to stand for justice, is not only allowing a genocide to unfold, but is in fact funding it. I grew up with the sounds of tanks, bullets, and bombs instead of fireworks. I grew up without food, water, and a home. I came to this country and considered myself lucky and proud to be an American. But I have to be honest with you. After the billions of American taxpayer dollars, thousands of lives lost, and an endless pool of evidence of a documented genocide, I'm embarrassed to be an American. I'm embarrassed that we continue to justify the killing of innocent children, women, and men as war casualties. I'm embarrassed that we are sending billions yet again to fund a genocide in the Middle East. I'm embarrassed to tell my 2-year-old Bosnian Palestinian son when he grows up that both of his mom's and dad's lands have been destroyed. I'm embarrassed that we are even having a discussion despite the daily documentation of transgression. In Bosnia, over 100,000 people died over a period of 3 years. It's only been 6 months since October 7th in Gaza, but over 35,000 people have died. We don't have 3 years. We don't have another month. We need a ceasefire now. If you have an ounce of humanity left, how can you justify what is happening in Gaza? How can you justify the destruction of homes, places of worship, and hospitals? How can you stand by and watch as premature babies are left to die after their oxygen has been cut off? Children and their mothers being shot, men being stripped down, tortured, and humiliated. A whole population starved as the Israelis continue to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians. How do we justify raising our Ukrainian flags while ignoring the Palestinian crisis? How many times have we said never again? History has never shown college protests to be on the wrong side of justice. Please join our neighboring cities in adding and passing a resolution for a ceasefire in Gaza. Thank you.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Pastor Nathan Perrin. I am a licensed minister with Mennonite Church USA. I'm one of the pastors on staff for Lombard Mennonite Church. I also have a doctorate in community development, all but done, and I also serve on the board of a human rights organization called Community Peacemaker Teams that does work primarily in the Middle East. I'm here on behalf as a Christian, but also here to kind of illustrate to you why this is a local matter. There was a study released last year through the University of Illinois Chicago about how hate crimes rise whenever there is disastrous foreign policy. You can look it up. It was released by the Institute for Research on Race and Public Policy just last year. It's called Beyond Erasure and Profiling, Cultivating Strong and Vibrant Arab American Communities in Chicagoland. What they found is that through this disastrous kind of foreign policy, that there's a direct link between hate crimes and both kind of like the local government silence on it and just a refusal to address what's going on. Anti-Muslim rhetoric is already on the rise. Anti-Semitic rhetoric is already on the rise. So as a way for calling us for a ceasefire and addressing the situation head on, you're ahead of time addressing crime and being a good deterrent to it by saying hate has no place in the city of Darien. With the DNC convention around the corner, I'm sure tensions are going to be raising up even more. I'm not sure if you've heard on the news that Biden's administration has denied several Palestinian activist groups the right to protest. So this is just a small way to acknowledge also the trauma and harm that's active in your community. And I also want to point out that even though this feels like nothing, the way the Armenian genocide officially got recognized was through efforts through local town halls like this. And it wasn't until 2021, after about 100 years of advocacy on the local level, that was able to pass. And I have faith and full confidence, especially with the access we have to social media, especially when the world does know this is a genocide going on, that we can accelerate that process much faster, and it can help elevate voices to people who aren't listening to your own residents. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. Thank you for allowing me to speak to all of you tonight. My name is Sujay Riel, and I'm a local student at Hinsdale South High School. I am currently here to stand for you to urge you to pass an immediate humanitarian ceasefire resolution. I have personally been affected by the tragedies occurring in Gaza by the widespread Arab prejudice as produced throughout the states. I had never experienced any form of hate crime or anything like that all my years of living in Darien. But throughout the last 7 months, I have been hate crime and ridiculed repeatedly. I was at the local library recently when I was crossing the street when a car had stopped to let me pass, and right before I could safely make it, they had beeped and flipped me off right to my face. I had only been trying to cross the street to go into the library to study for upcoming tests, but that incident had left me unfocused and unable to focus for the rest of the week. I felt so unsafe in a town that I had grown to believe would protect and support me. I felt as though the people around me might try to hurt me, and I became scared to go out alone. And not too long after, my grandparents had also been hate crimed as well. This left me just as afraid for them as for myself. I fear for my mom, who often goes out alone to do groceries and pick up stuff. I don't think as a 17-year-old, my biggest worry should be whether I can make it safely from my home to the library and back. I should be scared about my SAT scores and upcoming AP testing. But instead, I'm scared for my safety, I'm scared for my family's safety, above all, I'm scared for the safety of my friends in Gaza. Darien has a prominent Arab population, and I can assure you everyone has felt the shift in the environment around them. Many of my friends have told me of incidents where they have been hate crimed throughout the 8 months. This is a growing problem in the city, and passing the ceasefire resolution will make us proud Darien citizens feel supported by our local government. By passing this resolution, you would ensure that this beautiful town is on the right side of history and will be remembered. We must all stand together as humans and look at how the people of Gaza are suffering. This is not a religious issue, it is a humanitarian crisis. The people of Gaza have no food, water, or electricity. People of all ages have died due to the lack of humanitarian aid. Death certificates are printed before their birth certificates can even be sent out to prove they lived. To show we support the preservation of all life, even those across the seas in Gaza, I urge you to pass a humanitarian ceasefire resolution. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Jenna Ali. I am 16 years old. I have 3 minutes. If only it was possible to announce every crime Israel has committed towards Gazan children in 3 minutes. One of which would be that Israel kills a child every 10 minutes. In the city of Darien, a community of approximately 22 residents thrives. Yet in Gaza, over 37,000 children have tragically been martyred. Just envision the entire population of Darien wiped out within a mere 8 months. Shockingly, 8 out of every 10 schools in Gaza lie in ruin, depriving as many as 625,000 students of their right to education. As a high school student, I am compelled to voice my profound concerns for our brothers and sisters who suffer in silence. Imagine if it were your own children enduring the relentless bombardments that the children of Gaza face daily. Wouldn't you want to join the call to end on this ongoing catastrophe? I'm going to present to you a poem I wrote inspired by the tragedies of Gaza. Blind. There's a fire in my heart, but there's a fire in their home. The whole world is against us. Israelis are in a fuss. Palestinian lives turn into dust. Two-state solution, right? But they can't even last 8 months without picking a fight. When will the world stop being blind? Can't they see what these people are behind? Maybe they aren't blind. Maybe, in fact, they are very much aware, they just don't care. May 15th, 1948, the Nakba, the most tragic day in Palestinian history, ethnically cleansing all that's left of our victory. 2023 looks like they're repeating history. Gaza, oh Gaza, how the world mistreated you. Oh, but who's the victim? Who? Yeah, not you. There isn't much to do. There's nowhere to go or hide. Every time the media lies, a child in Gaza tragically dies. If only you heard how they cried. Over 12,000 Gazan children have died. Yeah, you can switch sides or just stay blind. Your decision to call for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza could imply that the city of Darien isn't blind and that you stand with the right side of history. Your decision will empower the youth of the community to advocate for justice. Your decision strengthens the trust our youth has with our elected governing body of Darien. Stand up for humanity and show us what freedom for all really looks like.
Good evening. My name is Zahir Sahlul. I'm a local physician. My specialty is pulmonary and critical care medicine. I practice in Chicago Ridge and in Oakland at Christ Hospital. I just came actually from my clinic. And my priority are my patients actually. One of my patients have been complaining that the The cost of her medications, inhalers are very expensive. So I think all of our priorities are our neighborhoods and our patients and our neighbors. But I think what's happening in Gaza right now is something that should attract our attention because it's heartbreaking. Besides my work at Christ Hospital and in my clinic, I run an organization called MediGlobal, where we send medical missions to disaster areas. We've been in Ukraine. I've been in Ukraine multiple times to help the victims of the war. I've been in Colombia, in Mexico, in Bangladesh, and in Gaza multiple times. I was in Gaza in January for 2 weeks. And what's happening in Gaza is heartbreaking. 1 out of 100 children in Gaza has been killed. The equivalent of 500,000 American children being killed in a matter of 6 months. What's happening on both sides in terms of the impact of civilians is heartbreaking. What's happening to the hostages is heartbreaking. So I think a call for ceasefire and release of the hostages is something that is very symbolic. I think all of us agree about. This is the humanitarian and the right thing to do. Even though that we are maybe very far from what's happening in Gaza, but it's affecting our communities. It's affecting colleges, it's affecting universities, it's affecting people from all divides. And the humanitarian message is very unifying. If we call for stopping of the missiles and the bombs and the killing of civilians, I think that will create an impetus for people to dream about a future that is based on human rights, based on freedoms, and based on democracy. And this is our goals in our neighborhood and also in Gaza. Today we had a medical team and that was supposed to enter Rafah, but it was blocked because of the recent looming offensive on Rafah. That would be a catastrophic on the 1.5 million people who are in Rafah, which is south of Gaza. So calling for a ceasefire at this point is very important and timely. And I call for all of you to support this ceasefire because it is the right thing to do. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Patty Jurgen. I am a Christian, and I thank you for allowing us to come and speak with all of you today. So I want to talk a little bit and expound on what some of them have already said. This is the first time that I am feeling stumped on what to say. We stood together united on October 7th when I'm certain that the majority of us in this room condemned what Hamas did to our Jewish brothers and sisters. This is no longer a war. This is no longer a country that is fighting for its life, fighting for its right to exist. Israel is the 4th largest military in the world. Our brothers and sisters in Gaza are in a prison set up. They can't go anywhere. If this was an actual war, our Israeli soldiers would have been down in the tunnel fighting with Hamas, not blowing up men, women, and children, killing our Christians over there, killing our Muslims, and killing our Jewish brothers and sisters. That's what's been going on over there. We have to, and the hate that is over there has now infested America as well. We have had the death of the little baby boy Wadeh El-Fayoum in Plainfield, stabbed 26 times for being Palestinian. His mother, she didn't succumb to her stabbing, but just for being Palestinian. Our sister, Miss Wall, in Detroit, Michigan, she was stabbed to death for being Jewish. You've already heard in here from these high school children that they don't feel safe. They're worried about their mom. Or our Jewish brothers who are worried about, and they're out here with us fighting on the front lines. They're worried about putting their beanie on and going outside and being identified as a Jewish person. So my hope is that today we need you guys. We need you because our federal politicians, our president, our senators, our congressmen, they have let us down. And so because we know that all politics is local, that's why we're coming here to you guys today. We know that you can't do anything to change what the federal government is doing, but each town, we've got 11 towns, I believe, so far. The more towns across Illinois, if the entirety of Illinois came together and said, no more, no more. It is symbolic, we understand that, but it is you elevating our voices because they are refusing to listen to us. And so we need your help. We would appreciate your help. Everybody, if you guys are videotaped, we would like for the community to come in and help us as well. We know that the resolution will be amended, and we look forward to sitting down with you and working with you to make it something that Darien can be proud of. Thank you so much for your time today.
Good evening to all the honorable members of the Council of Darien. My name is Jad, and I also currently attend Hinsdale South High School. As someone who has been a part of this vibrant community, I stand before you today not just a member of our city, but also as a teenager deeply impacted by the ongoing conflict in Palestine. Today I stand with a plea that transcends borders, politics, and personal beliefs. As we gather here today, thousands of miles away, my Palestinian brothers and sisters are enduring unimaginable suffering. The land of Palestine is stained with the blood of innocent lives lost to violence, conflict, and oppression. For far too long, the cycle of violence has perpetuated on an endless cycle of suffering. Children grow up amidst the rubble of demolished homes, families mourn the loss of loved ones, and communities are torn apart by fear and despair. The toll of this relentless conflict extends beyond the physical realm, leaving scars that may never be fully healed. But amidst this darkness, there's still hope. Hope for a future where Palestinians and Israelis can coexist in peace and mutual respect. Hope for a ceasefire that will halt the senseless bloodshed and pave the way for the meaningful dialogue. Today, I urge the Council of Darien to take a stand for humanity, compassion, and justice by advocating for a ceasefire in Palestine. This is not a matter of politics or ideology, but a fundamental question of human rights and dignity. My Palestinian people are not statistics or casualties of war. They are mothers, fathers, children, and grandparents with dreams and aspirations just like each of us. Every life lost is a tragedy and reverberates through our collective conscience, reminding us of the urgent need for action. As members of this esteemed council, you have the power to make a difference. By endorsing a ceasefire and calling for an immediate ceasefire of hostilities, you can send a powerful message of solidarity and support to those who are suffering. But let us not stop there. Let us also commit ourselves to addressing the root causes of the conflict and working toward a just and lasting solution that respects the rights and aspirations of both Palestinians and Israelis. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal. Let us therefore strive for peace with courage, determination, and unwavering resolve. Thank you for your time. And finally, peace for Palestine.
Hi there. It's nice to meet you all. My name is Amina Aziz, and I want to bid you each Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon each and every single one of you and all of those who came in to attend today. And I do mean that sincerely, because were I not wearing a scarf, I'd look just like any one of you. But the fact of the matter is, my blood is. In fact, my great-grandparents were actually Cherokee Native American. But I want to talk to you guys just as you are, because a lot of us are here with a lot of traumatic experiences from what we've seen, what we've heard, and what our families have experienced. And you know what? We came here because America is a very diverse melting pot, whether you're from Mexico, Canada, whether you're from Palestine or Poland. There's a million different countries, there's 100 different countries and so many people here representing a great mixture of them all. And it's because of that that we can call America great when we do. And it's not just that, but it's also the values that we uphold. And because America values freedom, America values protection, and America values our rights to live, that we are aware that we can come here and speak to you each today. Now, you probably don't see the videos that we see all the time of people being bombed or being torn apart from their families or limbs being taken out of the rubble. But you do know that there's a very serious issue going on across the world that hits us right here at home. Like Patty had just said recently, from the people who were being harmed personally to, I'm a fresh out of college, all the colleges who are feeling extremely scared because they're being, taken down. If you look at the actual videos of recording of what those encampments are right now versus what the news is showing you, if you look at the actual recordings of what the people in Palestine are doing and showing you versus what the news is showing you, you see the real story. Not the story that you're told, but the story that's actually happening on the ground. And while we sit here and listen to the city of Darien and all of you, our aldermen, taking care of frontage road in the best way that you can, hopefully not going to take out too much of that nature because we know we love that. And those floodings are not something anybody enjoys. But, those are our tax dollars. Those are your tax dollars. That's money that should not be spent on the other side of the globe to create genocide and to cause people coming in here causing a ruckus, but to actually be used for the American people, for our justice system, for our healthcare, for our education, and to make sure that we, as Americans, are very proud of where we stand, our voices being able to be heard peacefully, and our lives being mattered just as much as those who came across the seas and those families that we still have there as well. If it were Poland, if it were anywhere else in the world, we would love to be there and help the same way, just like so many have done for Ukraine. But we know that things are in a dire situation. We know that the federal government has the ability to move quickly whenever they want. But we know that our voice is heard by you and your voices are heard by many others. So thank you for your time and thank you for your patience.
Board of Trustees, good evening. My name is Dr. Rashid Chinab. I'm a Darien resident. We just celebrated Cinco de Mayo. We just celebrated the Polish Independence Day. All the Mexican American, the Polish American waved flags, danced, have a great time, food, festivals here in Darien and everywhere else. But how about the Independence Day of Palestine? How about the Independence Day of Israel? We raise flags just to be noticed, just to be alive. But what's going on right now in Gaza is really unprecedented. Over 42,000 Palestinians since October 7th. Of the 42,000 people who died, 99% are non-Hamas members. 2/3 of those 42,000 are women and children. Israel also lost some people on their side as well. Israel, with the help of our military aids to them, been bombing hospitals, daycares, destroying medical supplies, stopping humanitarian, just like what Dr. Sahwil mentioned. We're looking for hundreds of thousands of little kids to be starved to death. Our government cannot be complicit to continue with the genocide. We have a solution, and the solution is here. We have been supplying Israel with our tax dollars, bombing Gaza, killing 42,000, and there's no end in sight. There are plans to provide Israel with more money, just recent, over $10 billion. Israel has been stopping humanitarian aid to Palestinians and in Gaza. And the bottom line is, we really need to do something. Like our children, Gaza's children also wanting to play outside, to play football, to PlayStation, basketball, to be one of us here or here. But unfortunately, there's no chance for them to do something like that. Each one of us in this room have a problem. Some of us have a gardening issue, some of us have flooding issue, some of us have mother-in-law issue, but Gaza people have a hostage problem. They have a hunger problem. They have a missing limb issue. They have some of their siblings, some of their husbands, wives, daughters, waiting for them to come home, but they never do. Some of you may ask, well, what's Darien has to do with that? Just like what Patty said. We are the people of Darien, wanting our Darien government to do a ceasefire resolution in your memorandum. At that point, Mr. Gaskin will listen. At that point, Dick Durbin will listen. At that point, Duckworth will listen. At that point, Pritzker will listen. The president will listen. But we gotta start from us. That's why we are here today. How many of you here from Gaza? Can you please stand up? One person. We are not here because we're getting paid or anything like that. We are human, just like everybody else. Thank you so much for that.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Suzanne Akras, and I'm actually running for state representative for District 82, which is here and also in Darien. And I had the honor, by accident, I knocked on the mayor's door this weekend. Imam Hassan and I, we were canvassing. We canvassed this whole weekend in Darien, and so I'm really honored to stand in front of all of you here. I've lived in the district for about 20 years. I'm originally from Syria. I'm Syrian American, and what happens over there, let me tell you, affects us all over here. I went to medical missions and serving refugees in Greece and Syria and Jordan and Turkey, and in 2019 I had the honor of going to Gaza with Med Global with my husband, Dr. Sahlul, and to serve people in Gaza. To help in translation. I speak Arabic, that's my other language, my original language, and but actually they didn't need any translation. They are some of the most educated people. Everybody spoke English. I really had no job there except to offer support, emotional support. And people were so generous and so hospitable. Everywhere we went, people tried to feed us. I mean, I came back, I gained 5 pounds from my interactions with people. They have some of the best strawberries, the best fruit, the best people who were so generous. And it really left a mark in my heart. And to see what's happening right now is really devastating. And as they say, all politics is local. So what happens over there really affects us here. You have so many people in Darien who are residents of Darien who are affected, who have lost so many family members who are because of this crisis. So I ask all of you to pass the to ceasefire and releasing of all hostages because this is important. What happens here, other municipalities and other villages will listen and hear. We already have Bolingbrook that passed. Burridge, also Mayor Grasso passed the resolution, and having something from Darien, especially when you have such a large constituency here, they will really feel that this symbolic gesture is really meaningful to them, that you hear them, that you see them, that you're holding space for their pain and for their, all of us are in pain when we see what's happening, when we see the children who have lost limbs and who have the mothers and the fathers who have lost so much. And so holding space for people in the district and in your community, in our community, really will go a long way to mending hearts. And this will, I think, elevate the city of Darien. And as Brother said, this will, will have a ripple effect from here, from the grassroots to the grass tops. So thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today as a Palestinian American from Gaza, with a heavy heart, weighed down by the loss of tens, if not hundreds, of my family members, each being a victim of the cruel Israeli war on Gaza. Among them, I want to highlight the story of my uncle, a father of 4, a resilient soul, who fought a battle not just against his failing health, but also against the oppressive circumstances imposed upon him. For years, he struggled with dialysis, a grueling routine that demanded his strength and courage every single day. Despite the challenges, he persevered, driven by his love for his family and determination to live. But his struggle was made unbearable. by the blockade that limited his access to the medication and the treatment he desperately needed. In Gaza, where necessities are a luxury and healthcare is a distant dream, my uncle's fate was sealed by the inhumane Israeli blockade on Gaza. He's not just a number. He was a father, a husband, a beloved member of our family. Unfortunately, his story is not unique. It echoes the suffering of countless others trapped in the cycle of violence and deprivation of basic needs, such as medication. Today, I implore you to hear his voice and the voices of all those silenced by the blockade. I urge you to take a stand for humanity, for compassion, and for peace. We cannot turn a blind eye to the devastation unfolding in Gaza and across Palestine. I call upon this council to support a ceasefire resolution, to demand an end to the violence that robs families of their loved ones, and to demand aid to those who desperately need it, before it's too late, like it was too late for my uncle. Let us be a beacon of hope in a sea of despair, a voice of reason in a world plagued by injustice. Let us stand on the right side of history and pave the way for a just and lasting peace. This is the end of my speech, but I actually have something I need to share with everyone. As I was sitting down right now, 6 minutes ago before I got to the podium, I got the news of 4 extra members of my family being killed by the Israeli war on Gaza. I hope you realize how serious and personal this is. This is not something to be taken lightly, and I ask you to pass this resolution and save the rest of my family before it's too late. Thank you.
Mayor, Alderwoman, Aldermen. I'm the last one to speak, so that's a good news. You've heard from a broad spectrum of leaders, faith leaders, Christian, Muslim, and different religions. They're all united to ask you about the same exact need and ask, which is humanitarian attention for what's happening in Gaza. I want to give you a little bit of background on Gaza because you're probably hearing some from the news. You may have done some research on your own. I know most of you are highly educated, have interest in political science, and so how much do you think is the illiteracy rate in Gaza? It's 1%. That means 99% of Gazan are educated with 90% of education college degrees. A lot of them are master's degrees. Those people in Gaza that you see different images on the TV have ambitions, have goals, have aspiration in life. Their goals is to live the best life they can get. Another question, how many hospitals do you think in Gaza used to be before October 7th? 36 hospitals in an area of 140 square mile, equivalent to Detroit. 36 hospitals. How many left? One. One hospital left. Where? In Rafah, in the south, which is imminent to be invaded anytime. So tomorrow might be nothing left. Colleges. Anyone can guess how many colleges used to be in Gaza? 12 universities. 12. We don't have that in Chicago. They're all gone, rubble. Nothing left. It's beyond my comprehension, or even your comprehension, to understand why. Our ask is a local. We're asking you to stand with the people here that's coming to ask you to stand for them, with them, to lend them your voice. You are the first level of the government. We have elected you to listen to us, to be our voice. We want you to listen to us, pass what you think language-wise is appropriate, take it to the next level, and be our voice to them. Because they ask us for that. Bill Foster asked us for that. He said, bring the local so we can listen. And they already alluded to that. I'm going to end with a couple quotes from other villages who passed the ceasefire. Because you might be asking, what's our business in this foreign policy? And I understand that. But other trustees and aldermen saw it differently. So I'm going to quote Trustee Antonio Skepa from Bay Ridge. This is his exact word. We are elected by the people. We work for the people. And so when they come to us for help, it's something that we have to take seriously and in consideration. This is something that our residents come to us for help, and we are now putting this forth in our agenda. And what this resolution does, help us communicate that we stand united. And Trustee Anita Mittal, we want to be focused on humanitarian rights and making sure that our residents have a voice here, and we are there for them. This is what we are here for. I'm going to end with this quick one. Trustee Kozer of Villa Park. We as a board, we owe our citizen, our people, that voice, because that's why we are elected, to give them our voice. There are people who are hurting now, and we need to speak to that, and this proposal resolution does that. I want to leave you with this, and I appreciate the time. Everybody appreciate the time you give us. I know it's kind of our amendment right to speak, but listening and hearing is your choice, and you were listening and hearing us, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
At this point, I'll close the public comment section of our meeting. Just a few comments. Last week, Mr. Vanaher and I met with Mr. Khatib, and we had a very nice discussion with regard to what was going on in Gaza. He kind of laid the groundwork for what we experienced tonight. We expressed to him some concerns, and our concern was that our primary focus here in Darien is to respond to the needs of our residents. That is our primary focus, local government response to local needs. We also explained that we had a very difficult time believing that anything we would do or any other municipality would do from the standpoint of a ceasefire resolution could have any impact on the situation in Gaza. I understand that we are the first line of input that you have. We are the visible form of your government. In your mind, that's why you're here tonight, because you see us as the people who you need to respond. With that said, I'm going to ask my council members if anyone here on the council has any desire to move forward with the discussion or presentation of a ceasefire proclamation. Anyone? Yeah, if you would raise your hand, let me know if you do. Tom?
I don't see a problem with moving forward on this, as long as we keep it apolitical. We're talking about peace in the other side of the world, but it's still, don't we all want peace?
Anyone else? Joe?
I'm torn. And the reason I'm torn is I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I agree with the 16 people that spoke up here today. But I watched a police officer's funeral last Tuesday morning. There's nothing I can do 10 miles away, much less the thousands of miles in the Gaza Strip. However, I do believe it's worth having a conversation between all of us.
So Tom and Joe both feel it's worthy of a discussion?
Discussion. I mean, you're not doing it here at 9 o'clock. You know, we have to.
Would any of the other ones here, any other council members think we should have some discussion about this? Refer it to a committee? Joe and Tom feel that way, correct? Okay. I'll take that under advisement then, and we'll discuss that. Mr. Bannon and I will have a discussion regarding that, and we'll get some feedback from others. I appreciate all of you coming out tonight. I think you touched a lot of hearts tonight with what you said. And, you know, we are all humanitarians. We all have a concern. That's why we're up here. That's why we were elected. That's why we ran, only for the sake of enhancing the lives of the people that we serve. And we will discuss this as a group, and we will see where it goes. But at this point, then, I want to say thank you for all of you to come out. Mr. Khatib, thank you for organizing this. And with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Alderman Shower, second by Alderman Sullivan. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you for speaking and educating. Thank you. Appreciate you coming. Thank you for coming and speaking. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Absolutely, that's what we're here.
Appreciate your time and
That's what we're here for.
Thank you very much, sir. Asking us to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Scrap it, and it goes shoot. So later, okay? So first of all, the word he says,